Hi friends, this is Alex. Welcome to Panda Yoga. Today I'll be talking about what yoga is, a small ABC of yoga, and about some fundamental practices which are as important as our practice on the mat. Or maybe even more important. What is yoga? First of all, I would like to open this channel by thanking the ancient yogis for developing and passing on the science of yoga, and to my teachers, their teachers, and all the current and past generations who have been passing on the wisdom of yoga for thousands of years, and thanks to whom we can practice it now. Nowadays, yoga is viewed by many as a physical practice on the mat. But the asanas, the poses, are just one drop in the ocean of yoga, just one of many practices and limbs of yoga. Swami Satyananda Sarasvati writes, "The science of yoga begins to work on the outermost aspect of the personality, the physical body, which for most people is a practical and familiar standing point. From the physical body, yoga moves on to the mental and emotional levels. Gradually, this awareness leads to an understanding of the more subtle areas of existence." End of quote. So for many of us, physical practice will be our first step in yoga, and we should relax here and enjoy it for as long as we need to, even several lifetimes, until our bodies and minds start to crave something more. This was also my case, where for the first 3 years, yoga was for me moving on the mat, physical practice, before other limbs of yoga pulled me in. Yoga is a whole system and science of physical, mental, and spiritual practices that lead to transcending the ego and becoming one with the universal energy. Its wisdom covers everything, from the cycles of the universe and life force sustaining everything, to how we should breathe, eat, and treat ourselves and others. The science of yoga is thousands of years old. It was developed in today's India by ancient sages. These first yogis were philosophers, psychologists, and they had a scientific approach to their work. They developed yogic techniques by closely studying nature and themselves, their minds and bodies. That's why, for example, in yoga we have so many animal poses. The sages were observing the animals, copying and adjusting their poses to the human body, and observing their effects on all the bodily systems, on the glands, on the hormones. For example, they made a connection between breathing pace and life expectancy. They noticed that animals that breathe slower, like elephants or turtles, live longer. Yoga is one of the oldest systems like this in the world. For example, Buddhism evolved out of Vedanta, Tantra, and yoga. After renouncing the world, Lord Buddha practiced yoga and studied Vedic wisdom from Indian yogis. He assimilated certain notions like samskara and reincarnation and rejected other elements, added his own beautiful realizations, wisdom, and practices. It's really quite incredible that these techniques and teachings have survived for millennia and that we can still benefit from them today. What does the word yoga mean? Yoga means union, and we can interpret it in many ways. Union of body and mind, union of heart and the rational mind, or as Swami Shivananda beautifully said, yoga is an integration and harmony between thought, feeling, and deed, or integration between head, heart, and hand. End of quote. Isn't it beautiful? It's an integration, union, harmony between head, heart, and head. What we think, what we say and feel, and what we do. And the ultimate meaning of the word yoga, union, is uniting our individual self with the universal self. And when I say self, it's a concept that can be called in many different ways in different traditions. It can be called a soul, a consciousness, psyche, spirit, awareness, or like some Buddhists call it, a mind continuum. In yoga, this union is called samadhi, going beyond all the noise and ever-changing emotions and thoughts to reach an ever-silent, peaceful and joyful state of bliss. It's a bit similar to the state that the Buddhists call nirvana, that the Lord Buddha called nirvana, transcending the mind and the ego. It takes many, many lifetimes to get there, which is good news. There is no need to hurry. We can relax and proceed slowly, enjoy the stage we are on now, and start at the bottom to grow baby teeth first. And this leads to the second section of practice of Yogic Lifestyle. As Adi Palhikvala said, yoga is not to be performed. Yoga is to be lived. And we could talk about all aspects of yogic approach to life for weeks, but I'll keep it short here and concentrate on several important aspects. Practicing yogic lifestyle, so the way we think, speak and behave towards ourselves and others, is an essential prerequisite to other practices like asanas, pranayama or meditation. It's also a fundamental aspect of yoga in itself. It's the first and second limb of Raja Yoga. Because our inner environment, the way we are inside, is much more important in yoga than our outer aspect. So you can be a great yogi even if you cannot walk, but you might be able to perform the most difficult asanas, but without the inner moral code, without purifying your heart, you would be a great athlete, not a yogi. So let's dive into some aspects of yogic inner world. Yamas and Niyamas. Swami Vivekananda writes, the Yama and Niyama, as we see, are moral trainings. Without these as the basis, no practice of yoga will succeed. End of quote. So Yamas and Niyamas are personal and social training, a moral code, an inner discipline. They are similar to the 10 Commandments from the Bible and five mindful trainings in the engaged Buddhism tradition of Plum Village. Yamas and Niyamas are the first and second limb of Raja Yoga. I'll talk about them at length in the next episode. Here I just want to introduce them shortly. Yamas and Niyamas were developed by ancient sages to cleanse the body and mind so that we become internally peaceful and pure. As we slowly practice them, our mind becomes more and more calm and quiet. And their practice is really essential to make a progress with other stages of yoga, for example, asanas. So without the constant mind chatter and distractions, we are more focused and aware of our bodies, of the movement. Also, they are a preliminary step in meditation because we have to cleanse internally to be able to concentrate. So if you are absolutely unable to concentrate and sit still, try focusing on Yamas and Niyamas first. So what are Yamas and Niyamas? In short, it's a practice of simply becoming a good, compassionate and loving person, of having a truly pure heart, heart of gold. They encourage us to have a positive approach to life, to be nice, generous, helpful and honest, to have a non-violent and non-offensive attitude towards ourselves and others, never doing any harm by choice, but only as self-defense if it's absolutely necessary. to lead simple, modest and balanced life, to maintain a healthy lifestyle, eat locally grown, nourishing foods, to avoid overindulgence in anything, to self-study so we become aware of our strengths and weaknesses in order to refine our personality, not to be selfish, dishonest or greedy, not to be attached to our material property, ego or views, and finally to surrender to the wisdom of life, to the spirit of the universe. It's not only about how we act, how we are externally. It's mostly about developing, slowly and gradually, a peaceful, loving and kind environment within. Number 2, patience and humbleness. In the West, we have developed this instant culture. We want everything now, fast. We expect to obtain the results as fast as possible, maybe with putting as little work as possible. But the practice of yoga is the opposite. It's the practice of patience, humbleness, recognizing our limitations and accepting them, not pushing from a place of ego. Practicing certain techniques until our body and mind are absolutely ready for the next step, rather than being in a rush to start a more advanced technique. We wait for our bodies and minds to slowly become accustomed to changes occurring. So yogic approach is a slow approach, baby steps, climbing one step at a time. As my philosophy teacher said, yoga is a process. Excessive efforts are not allowed. Go step by step, slowly, slowly. We should practice what we need rather than what our ego wants. If we listen attentively to our bodies, they will always tell us what we currently need. So, for example, in asana practice, rather than being in a rush to perform specific asanas or stretching our muscles beyond their limits, we should be very aware of where we are now and gently and slowly keep opening the joints, the muscles, the ligaments. We have to wait for the body to be ready to take it up a notch instead of forcing the bodies to do what they are simply not ready for. In pranayama, first thing we should learn is the difference between chest, diaphragmatic and abdominal breathing before we go on to more advanced techniques. Also, it is not advised to practice breath retention for absolute beginners, so we should patiently practice more basic techniques until our body is ready to hold the breath for longer. And I'll tell you a short personal story about how I was pushing out of my limit in pranayama. I remember one morning, right after my yoga teacher training course, I was so excited to try all the techniques I learned. So one morning I tried all of them at once, basically. I did very long pranayama, like way too long with too many repetitions. And right after this, some kundalini breathing, and I passed out. I just remember this moment of breathing intensely, and the next thing I remember was my head like bobbing against the floor because I just lost consciousness. I must have collapsed, and this woke me up, my head hitting the floor. And I must say it was pretty terrifying because I thought, oh, I was in the room like alone, but what if it had happened somewhere else? I texted my pranayama teacher and said what happened, and she just told me that it's just too much energy, that apparently my body is not strong enough. So she told me to take it down a notch, to proceed more slowly and focus maybe more on asanas, to strengthen my body first so it can work with this energy that is being created during pranayama. So please don't repeat my mistake and just don't push too much. Do it within your comfort zone, not to pass out. Don't injure yourself. If we want to be able to meditate, we must open our hips and straighten our back muscles first, so we are able to sit still and comfortably long enough for the meditation to occur. And we need to purify our bodies and minds first with practicing Yamas and Niyamas, so we are able to concentrate at all. And here a small side note. Actually, we practice concentration, not meditation. Meditation happens spontaneously. Meditation cannot be learned, taught, and practiced. We learn and practice to concentrate, whether it's our breath, some visualization on mantra, we keep concentrating on that. And then meditation might happen or not. It's just a wrong use of word. I'm not sure how it happened, but the word meditation must have been adapted in a wrong way a long time ago. And number 3, awareness, being Zen. I don't know why, but yoga is not associated with self-awareness or mindfulness, like for example, Buddhism is. However, self-awareness is a very important element of yogic lifestyle and all the yogic practices. Yoga science continuously emphasizes developing awareness, self-awareness, something that other traditions call being mindful or being Zen. With this approach, we develop a passive, non-reactive inner witness who only calmly observes what's going on within us and in our lives. So instead of living constantly in our head and being swept away by our emotions and things that happen to us, we start to attentively and calmly observe ourselves and the life around us, our bodily sensations, emotions, thoughts, also sounds and smells around us, our reactions. We stop being so reactive and wrapped up in our ego and perceptions. It's almost as if time starts to go slower and everything we do becomes joyful. Even, for example, washing dishes, because we enjoy the sensation of water on our hands, its density, sound it makes. Maybe we even appreciate a long journey it made all the way from a river, mountains, or underground. So the simplest things become miraculous. Please note that it doesn't mean at all that we should suppress or eliminate thoughts and emotions, not at all. We should simply become aware of them from a point of stillness. And in the context of asana practice, Swami Satyananda Sarasvati defines awareness as witnessing any thoughts or feelings that may arise during the practice. Implicit in the concept of awareness is the acceptance of any thought or feeling which comes uninvited to the mind. This awareness is essential in order to receive optimum benefits from the practice. And our meditation teacher in India summarized it nicely. Yoga is a way of life. It's doing everything with awareness. It's a process of becoming conscious. The concept of Zen or mindfulness, which evolved from Buddha's teaching or were developed directly by him, have their roots in the yogic practices and tradition. And 3M tells an interesting story of the origin of Zen and how it made its way from India to Japan. In this video, I'll link it around the 7th minute. And please remember, friends, that developing awareness is a process. So don't be in a rush and just enjoy all stages of your journey. Swamiji writes, awareness cannot be gained overnight, but develops as one practices yoga and adopts yogic lifestyle. And some other traits of yogic lifestyle include developing sweet voice. So, in other words, avoid yelling, cursing, complaining, criticizing, gossiping, and unnecessarily commenting on things. Trying to perform all our actions, even most irrelevant ones, with dedication and to the best of our ability. Refraining from judging others and from jealousy. Gratefulness. actively finding things to be grateful for rather than constantly thinking of things we don't have. Having good intentions, developing friendly attitude towards all beings, realizing that we are one family, one team, team life, being mentally strong and calm, not running away from any honest work or challenges that come our way. So a yogi doesn't necessarily live in seclusion, in the cave, in the mountains and meditates all day. You can be a great yogi while being deeply involved with, but not attached to, the material world. And please note, friends, that I keep saying practicing, developing, trying to, because developing yogic lifestyle won't happen overnight. It happens gradually over a very long length of time, even many lifetimes. But it will start becoming easier and easier with time. To summarize, we can compare practicing yogic lifestyle to going to the gym to work on our strength. It takes time to build up muscles, but once we have them, we can do more exercises and increase the load. These practices are like building up muscles. They are essential for us to progress in other limbs of yoga. Just like we cannot lift a heavy weight if we have no muscles or strength at all. Also, we don't grow muscles once and expect them to stay the same forever. We need to keep working to keep them. Likewise, we don't learn principle of yogic lifestyle in theory only, but we need to keep practicing them daily, gradually. Good news is that with time and practice, it becomes easier. On this channel, I'll be sharing with you yogic techniques in this patient and self-aware way, encouraging you to respect where you are today without pushing and straining, because accepting our limitations and slowly working towards expansion is a part of practice too. And the third thing I would like to mention is the art, the practice of relaxation. And I put a lot of emphasis on this because it's a tremendous problem in our society nowadays. Most diseases that we struggle with nowadays, like for example insomnia, anxiety, depression, heart disease, addictions, are caused by, among other things, prolonged stress and hidden tensions. So most of us don't know how to relax. We keep amassing stress and tension in our bodies daily, but we never release it. We think we relax when we watch Netflix, YouTube, or scroll through social media, but it's actually not deeply relaxing for our minds and bodies. It's just a distraction. It's like sweeping something under the rug. And I can relate very well to this because naturally I'm quite an anxious, nervous, and overthinking person. And for decades I thought I was relaxing by eating sweets or drinking beer in front of my laptop. But only now, after I have started practicing yogic technique of relaxation, I understood what true relaxation truly is. I was actually quite shocked how tense my body was until the tension disappeared. It felt a bit like a heavy backpack that I didn't even know I was carrying disappeared. And because I felt myself how powerful relaxation techniques are, I am very hopeful to bring it to as many people as possible because I want all of us to be relaxed and happy. And I'll be sharing with you all these relaxation techniques here on this channel. So long story short, friends, to truly practice yoga, we don't need to be flexible or be able to perform complicated asanas. It's more important to approach everything and everyone with patience, kindness, awareness and gratitude. So take it slow and be sure to enjoy your practice in a way that doesn't exhaust you. Also, we all need to learn how to relax in order to heal. Thank you. Have the most beautiful rest of your day and see you in the next video. Please let me know what your thoughts are. Was it overwhelming? I hope it wasn't. Please remember to take it slow, but I am sincerely really curious, how do you relate to these practices and to aspects of yogic lifestyle? Thank you very much, friends. Bye bye.